Sure, historical text and archival material is cool and all, but what if you just want to hang out in a different time period? Hey, it's Game Rant, and here are 6 historical settings that still haven't been used in an open-world game. Number 6. The Soviet Union. Say what you will about the Soviet Union, they gave us Tetris. And really, so much of the 20th century was shaped by the mere existence of this socialist state. It can be tempting to shape any game using the former republic into a political statement. But no person, let alone an entire nation, is just one story. And people lived their whole lives, friendships and families were formed, exciting events in science, sports, and art occurred. To be able to step into the Soviet Union and yes, witness the cronyism and corruption of local officials, but with a more empathetic and subjective viewpoint, would further educate players on the daily lives which nearly 300 people experienced at a time. Number 5. 1980s New York City. It's actually a little strange this hasn't happened already, as so many beat-em-ups and light gun games of the 1980s and even the 1990s were attempting to give the grimy feel of 1980s New York City. The closest approximation we've received so far is Rockstar's The Warriors, but that is based off a 1979 film. Still, this shows the potential of the crumbling metropolis with spiking crime rates as a game setting, and with countless vigilante movies of the era such as the Death Wish series as inspiration, it's an open-world concept just ready for the plucking. Just remember to have trash blowing everywhere. Number 4. 19th century Australia. Australia is a lovely country these days, so long as you're not afraid of spiders, and we'd gladly spend our vacations there anytime. 19th century Australia, on the other hand, sounds like a waking nightmare, establishing prison colonies, literally stealing the children of indigenous people. And remember all that unhinged nature? Yeah, the British kind of went to war against nature, eventually introducing invasive species after invasive species, which spiraled into its own crisis. Again, we'll name-check Rockstar Games and their often bleak western Red Dead Redemption 2 for inspiration. But tethering that style of game to Australia's unique story could make for a highly compelling, if disturbing, open world. Number 3. The American Civil War. Again, this is not a place we would ever want to exist in, but as a piece of interactive media which can further educate the general population, the American Civil War is woefully overlooked for games, especially open-world games. Although some games here and there have attempted to play with the dated weaponry of the time. However, it really comes down to a question of historical accuracy, because addressing the American Civil War means addressing the institution of slavery and its role in the establishment of the United States. The Civil War is not an easy topic, nor should it be trivialized, but it's also an event that must not be forgotten. Number 2. Eastern Europe in the 1990s. When the Soviet Union collapsed, many were uncertain what would come next, but others saw it as a personal opportunity. The early 1990s in the former Soviet Union were a mad dash for power in different regions. Some through the newly embraced capitalist-style economy, others through, let's say, less reputable methods. We're talking an entire nuclear power dissolving overnight, and a couple of 100 million people attempting to adapt to new jobs, new media, and a new way of living. To say it was a bumping time would be an understatement. Something like the first-person series Stalker might give us a look into what this could look like. Although we'd like to see more urban-dense environments like the 1993 constitutional crisis. Number 1. Pre-Columbian South and Central America. It's rather surprising how disinterested the general game development community apparently is for South America. Unless, of course, it's suffering some sort of military coup backed by a conspiracy. But the rich culture of the indigenous people and their plight against the invading and occupying European forces opens up the story to the geopolitical state of the time, and how the people of what would become Colombia chipped away at the settlers' hold both internally and through international diplomacy. It seems like the sort of thing that would be ripe for an adventure game, and we'd love to see it. But now we want to hear from you. Will Grand Theft Auto ever explore outside America? And don't bring up those London games, those don't count. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this list, but keep clicking around here on Game Rant, and we'll see you next time.